Hey guys, Lego Wiggin back with another video here. Now we got that Templar Relic Knight. I believe it's pretty much just like that regular Templar Knight, but the colors are switched and these are based on actual historical ones, which is still pretty cool. I think the other ones are too, but these ones are pretty cool, and I do remember the story a little bit for these inside of the Mythic Legions lore. Like, supposed to have, I think there's 10 of these dudes, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not buying 10. Maybe I will get a second, maybe a third, but I will not be buying 10. That's too much money for me. But I do really like this figure. It's definitely up there for one of my favorites. I'm just a sucker for these Templar Knights. And he does come with a lot of stuff, actually, and a cool other head. But, so we're going to strip him down and get straight into these accessories. Nope. Straight into articulation first. Okay, just I'm gonna give a fair warning right here in advance. If you do have that first Templar Knight, you're really not. There's nothing different at all with articulation and accessories, honestly. Besides one item, which I will point out, I believe the only real difference between these two figures, besides that accessory, is just the black and the white being swapped, and then this new accessory that we get. So you know what to expect, and if you already have any Mythic Legions, you probably already know what you're getting into here just off the look alone, because these parts are pretty much just reuse. But we'll start with his head. I'll show it from the front first. Up, down. And my favorite part of Mythic is just this ball and swivel, dude. And here's from the side, just so you get a better idea. There's not too much in this big helmet. And these shoulder pads are flexible, these pauldrons, so you do and are able to raise these arms and not have to worry too hard. But you get right around that T-pose, not fully, which might be my fault. Yeah, it was my fault. Get about T-pose, single joint elbows. Everything does swivel though and rotate. Hands, you know, if you have one, you know, but it is nice to see. Forward. Let me try to get it in focus a little bit better. Backwards, which is a pretty good one on him, and forward. But if you know, you can also pretty much just get a whole ball of rotation. You can do a lot here with that, which is super nice. I do love that. Then we'll get straight to these legs, and this plastic is super soft, so you don't really have to stress. Single joint, and everything does swivel on its own together. It's a little cold in my place, so I am struggling a little bit. But it's pretty much a very basic scheme of articulation here. But I'm not going to disrespect it and say that it sucks, because, you know, sometimes you get butterfly joints and there's no reason. And sometimes I hate when a figure's feet cannot swivel and rotate around to try to make sure it can stand. And this one does, and I really do love how the helmets. This one's a little bit harder, but you can get those heads to look sideways a lot, and it really helps animate a character. And there's a lot you can do with this, and they are working and upgrading it, as we have seen with some of these more recent reveals. But from here, we're going to get into these accessories, and I'll make sure to point out what is new. I just wanted to show this on and give a little bit of an articulation show on this big behind helmet. I mean, it does look kind of cool, and it is cool that it comes with this, and it comes with the other helmet, and then you're going to get a third helmet from the Father Christmas if you get that. That can really help separate these, and you know, the color match is going to be, they said it's supposed to be perfect, and there's some other helmets that you could definitely get in here, and it'll match pretty good. And go, you can also put headless, like maskless heads on here, or regular heads, to kind of fill in, because there's supposed to be 10 of these technically, so it's really nice. But obviously, as you can probably tell, the articulation is going to be really slacking here. I mean, it's actually doing a little bit better than I thought there. We're going to go for a look down, which, there you go. And I'll move it up, and I took the whole thing out. So that looks like it's about as far as up as I'm going to get. And then that down. I'll show it from the front. That's about up as we're going to get. That's down. But you do get a pretty decent left and right, I'm not going to lie. And I have seen people take this top off, but I'm going to go grab a few other figures, and we're going to get this going. Okay, so I grabbed that first Templar Knight. See if I can get him to stand. And can't really see the chest because of his shield I had out. Oh, okay. So I will say there is a pretty decent difference in the and the grays. As you can see, the helmet that the originally came with are exactly the same, but the horns are different. And the Relic one has a much more shiny silver on it. I'm looking at the camera, it looks like it's picking up pretty decently. But as you can see, the colors are swapped. I think everything's the same, but the paint is slightly different, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool detail. I honestly wasn't sure. And then I'm going to grab a few of the figures that I have up on my channel, just to compare. Here's that Gold Knight. And here is a Vampire. All of these kind of could be, I mean, every Mythic Legion could be in the same room. But in my opinion, these three make a good amount of sense. And they're kind of on the contrast of gold, black, and silver. So it is a pretty good, and they scale pretty well. We have that big helmet on him. I don't know if it's adding a lot of height or no height at all, but I think it's pretty cool. And then next I do have, we're going to go into kind of a journey of heights here. We have the giant ogre scale, and then we have a little dwarf. All from here. The Cavern Dwarf and the Ogre have videos on them uploaded too. And I really got to give hands to the Four Horsemen for the size and difference in their figures. And trying to keep it somewhat consistent. Because I do know sometimes I have Marvel Legends or Mezcos or Mafex. And I know the new Mezco Robin's a little tall. Just a little bit. Not like too much, because I don't actually have a Batman yet that I really like to compare it with. But I see a lot of people complaining. Here is my Mezco Superman, which I really do love. I think it's the best 1/12 Superman out of regular Superman, classic. And then I do have a Cyborg Superman that I'm trying to get ready to stand. Hoping he does. And it looks really cool. I mean, Dark Knights of Steel is happening, or just ended, and another one about to happening again. These aren't the right costumes they wear, but it is a cool little matchup. And then I'll pull out some Hasbro. Venom is leaning a little bit forward. I'm trying to not have him lean so much forward in these videos. And he's giving me, there we go. See, Venom's massive. Venom looks cool. I like to mix up all lines and all properties. So this works pretty well, and I think the scale is really good. I mean, I don't imagine Spider-Man as a tall guy, so this works really well. I know some people don't like Monster Venom, but I don't really care as long as the writing's good and he looks cool. Here is a Toby that's not going to want to stand. Fig Arts, he's tiny. I do think he's a little too small in my opinion, but I do like him. And then I think this might be my last two we're coming up on here. Sentinel Miles from the movie. He is tiny on purpose. Looks great. Anya, smaller than everybody by far. And that should be everybody, which is just going to take us to my final thoughts on this figure. So overall, I know it might look very basic, but I really do like this. I love knights and fantasy and all that type of stuff. So it's no surprise to anyone who's hearing that I love the Four Horsemen Mythic Legions, and I don't think that will ever stop. And you know, we can argue about articulation, I guess. I'm not gonna entertain it because I don't really care enough, and it could be improved, and they are working on it. But overall, I just love this figure. I love how it looks. I love the fact that we can pop, swap, paint, all of it, and I like that we get these cheaper figures that do lack some paint details on purpose so we can get them for a cheaper price and build them as an army. I do love that, and I love this figure. I'm looking at the wave. I don't know if I can put it in my favorite, how that Templar Knight is my favorite in that kind of like builder wave. Not really wave, but releases. This first Templar Knight is my favorite army builder that I had of like supposed to be army builders. And this one's really solid, but this whole wave's really good. So I don't know where I would put it, but I do love it, and that should be the end of this video. So if you guys like it, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.